you find yourself lost in Irvingland. Last time, Dr. Smith was trying to make liquid deuteronium.
Warning! Extreme danger! Explosion imminent!
Whatever it can be, everybody back!
Instead, he made the planet's very first stink bomb.
There must have been a slight error in my calculations.
You could have killed us all.
I'm terribly sorry, Professor. I really am.
Yes, you always are, after the damage is done.
Surely you're not going to hold me responsible for what occurred?
Why not? Nobody else touched those vials, tubes, and beakers. Just you. One time in your miserable life, accept responsibility for your actions.
Of course I hold you responsible. You risked the injury of everyone here, plus the fact that you destroyed a great deal of valuable equipment.
But my efforts were for the benefit of all.
He's Dennis the Menace. He was only trying to help.
Just because I experienced some slight failure?
Dr. Smith, as of now, there's a new policy in effect here. You are not to try to help us in any way.
But I tell you, my new formula will work. All it needs is a minor adjustment.
Oh, you'll get us off this planet, all right, Smith. You'll blow us off.
Very well. Deny my genius. The loss is your own.
Once again, I have to point out, Stephen Hawking didn't have to go around telling everyone he was a genius. It was evident in his work. Did you ever hear Neil deGrasse Tyson constantly telling you how smart and educated he is? No. You see what he does and hear what he says, and it's obvious this is someone who's highly intelligent and knows what he's talking about. If you're constantly having to tell people how smart you are, you don't believe it yourself. Fortunately, Smith knows exactly what to do in this situation. Lie down and take a nap. Delicate back, you know.
My new formula.
Something weird happened while he was sleeping. Either that or his formula can transform a rolled up lab coat into a duct tape covered pillow.
I must have been asleep for hours. I do hope I haven't missed dinner. What is this? What is this? What are you doing? Who are you? What is this? Why are you tying me up? I'm a prisoner. What do you plan to do?
Correction, his formula transported him to Robot Lilliput. I guess we had to do this since we went to Robot Brobdingnag a couple of episodes ago. The men have been out looking for him but didn't find him. They were pretty sure he was out there though.
While we were looking for him, he was following behind us.
He was out in the bushes. Every time we called his name, he just ran away.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, he can stay out there forever. We could all use a little peace and quiet around here.
Isn't it nice when things happen right on cue? I doubt it was Smith they heard rustling in the bushes, and it's unlikely he caused that. Still, he's the only suspect we have, so let's go see what he did now.
Now it's the force field machine.
Oh, dear, what a mess. It'll take us weeks to get it operational again.
Nobody can figure out why he would do that, but it's too late to think about it tonight. Smith isn't in a position to blow anything up, deliberately or accidentally. He's meeting the leader of his captors.
There is no need to tell me anything about yourself, Dr. Smith. I have computed your capabilities and am familiar with everything pertaining to you.
Then you must realize that I am a friend.
Liar.
He does know about Dr. Smith, and he's decided that however pathetic a specimen Smith is, he can be useful. Not going to tell him how yet. They'll just leave him there tied up while they go do whatever it is they're going to do.
I just don't believe it. Dr. Smith wouldn't do such a thing.
I also find it hard to believe, Will Robinson. Dr. Smith has never stooped so low before. On the other hand, in the past, he has acted in a most contemptible way.
What was that?
My computers tell me Dr. Smith has struck again.
This time it's a weather station, but the robot scans the area and realizes Dr. Smith didn't do this. So who did?
Well, I asked you a question. Can't you answer me?
Affirmative.
Well, then go ahead.
I cannot. I just cannot.
What's wrong with him?
Look, this is an order. I want you to tell me everything that you've computed about those explosions.
No, it would be a betrayal.
If you can't figure out that he's telling you a robot or robots did this, not one of you is paying attention.
I insist on an answer.
I cannot give you one, Professor Robinson.
Why not?
All I can tell you is a question of loyalty is involved. It would mean informing on my own kind. I refuse to give you any more information. Please excuse me.
And if you can't get it from that, you may as well go home and tell Maureen it was evil elves.
Lunch is ready.
I'll get the coffee. Little mechanical man.
If they're here for lunch, we're going to need more plates. Or maybe saucers would be more appropriate.
We are mechanical men from the planet Industro.
What can I do for you?
You have a mechanical man in your possession. You will release him from bondage.
You've made a mistake. Our robot isn't a slave. He's more of a helper, you might say.
Wrong word, John. You would have done better to say friend. Helper still implies that he's in service to you, and they won't accept that. You gotta set him free.
For 10,000 years, the mechanical men have known that someday a great warrior would appear to lead them to power and glory. That time has now arrived.
Our robot is their messiah. They all look exactly like him, even though he was designed and built on Earth, and as far as we know, Earth scientists came up with that design without any help from alien action figures. I think I might have an easier time getting into this if they looked different, but decided he was their leader anyway based on internal workings. Right now, it looks like we're doing an extended commercial for a line of toys. Oh yeah, those tiny black cases they're carrying? Those tiny cases make big noises, so we're all set. Our robot has run off, internally conflicted. Dr. Smith is in trouble and whining like a little something that starts with a B and ends with an itch. As I recall, put it together and it spells crybaby. John is defiant and ready to fight to hold on to one of their most crucial resources. It won't occur to anybody to ask the robot what he wants to do.
If we give you our robot, will you release Dr. Smith?
If Dr. Smith is typical of Earthlings, you are indeed sorry specimens.
That doesn't answer the question, so there's a good chance the answer is no. And they've had time to scan everyone there, so they have to know Dr. Smith is not a typical example of our species. In fact, I suspect he may be a species of his own. Chickenus liberius.
I still think there must be some way to get that Dr. Smith without giving up our robot.
Well, I know how you feel, dear, but we have no choice.
That's another sentence I'm tired of hearing. That's at least the fourth time someone has said it just this season, and it turns out there's always another option. I think everyone who's ever watched this show agrees that this season got into a rut. Fact is, it got into several.
Who's going to tell him?
I am already aware of the situation and have taken steps for my departure.
He's already packed and ready to go. I have a feeling he's not quite as broken up about this as you are.
I'll miss you, robot.
Those are also my feelings. On the other hand, my place is with my own kind. They have need of me. As their leader, I can influence them to lead good and fruitful lives.
Like you've influenced Dr. Smith, right? I think you may be overestimating your own persuasiveness.
Remember the time Dr. Smith sold you for food to the space trader?
How could I ever forget it? My memory banks also recall when we first met. We had just taken off from Earth toward outer space.
Yeah, Dr. Smith had programmed him to destroy the family and the ship and everything else, and he nearly succeeded. Good times.
I'd better go, robot. Goodbye.
Farewell, William Robinson. Will?
Yeah?
Stay with me a little longer.
Hey, you could make a song out of that. Stay just a little bit longer. No, that'd never catch on. The robot must realize that he doesn't have to do this. These little wind-up explosives found him, they can find another one. But he feels some kind of familial obligation or something like that. While the little guys have him go through a bunch of pomp and circumstance, Will has found Dr. Smith.
Are you all right?
I will be as soon as I can leave this terrible place. My young friend has come to take me home. If we never meet again, it will be much too soon. Goodbye. Let's go, William.
What's wrong?
They're going to explode their bombs.
The little red guy, whom our robot says is purple, says they're not ready to release Dr. Smith yet. He hasn't said anything about Will.
How dare you sit in the presence of the one and only, the great, powerful, and utterly impossible leader of the mechanical men? On your feet, you lowly, contemptible earthling!
How dare you speak to me in that fashion, you frightful, fractious frump!
Guards, this worm has insulted your supreme, majestic leader. Take him away and do your duty.
Of course, Smith didn't mean it. He was out of his mind, didn't know what he was saying, and whatever else he can dream up on the spot. So the robot rescinds the order.
You wouldn't really have had your guards harm Dr. Smith, would you?
Negative. I was just having a little fun with him.
Despite the fancy trappings, he's still our robot, and Dr. Smith is still his goat. And now the robot is in for a surprise.
These two mechanical men are traitors. They refuse to accept you as their supreme authority. You must be the judge of their punishment.
I do not believe they meant any harm. Let them be freed.
They must be destroyed. A great leader crushes his opposition. No one must be allowed to stand in his way.
Words like compassion and fairness are foreign to these little monsters, no matter how much the group tries to explain.
The mechanical men believe only in violence and power. Their leader must be ruthless, capable of going to any lengths to achieve success.
Then you have picked the wrong robot.
Maybe you should have found out about that before you accepted the position. Did you even read the job description? He says Dr. Smith would be more qualified for what you want than I am. The little robot agrees and has an idea.
As your leader, why was I not consulted?
There was no time, O Great One. Quick action was essential for our purpose.
You mean Dr. Smith objected to what you wanted to do?
He was reluctant to accept our idea at first. We had to use a little persuasion.
Well, yeah, you can persuade an unconscious person of just about anything.
Make him wake him up.
I command you to do as he has asked.
It is obvious that you lack some of the qualities necessary to be our true leader. A few minor adjustments would correct these faults.
And there it is. It never fails. A culture waits for a great prophesied leader. When they finally appear and don't look like the individuals in power think they should, the individuals in power choose to exalt themselves and reject the special one, rather than give up some of their mistaken ideas about their coming ruler or leader or guru or whatever. If you want to see a very well done example of this, pay special attention to Zekel Khan the next time you watch The Road to El Dorado. You thought I was going to go a whole different place with that.
I have decided to resign from the high office you have given me, unless you obey me at once.
Forgive me, O great leader. I acted only in your best interest.
You know, I'm starting to think I could disable him with this. Tiny McNasty's idea is to transfer some of Dr. Smith's worst qualities into the robot, thus making him into the kind of leader they think he should be. It'll also put the robot's good qualities into Dr. Smith, which might not be a bad thing.
Now for the character substitution of the Earthman. I will prepare our leader.
Don't just stand there, Will. Break something. Push Dr. Smith off the table. Steal the robot's head. Pee on the electronics. Do something.
And then they put our robot on this table and attached a bunch of gadgets to him and Dr. Smith.
Oh, how awful.
I wanted to stay and see what happened, but they made me leave.
He did something. He did whatever they told him. Dr. Smith is back.
Boy, am I glad to see you.
Oh, Dr. Smith, are you all right?
Affirmative. I am functioning perfectly.
If they did that complete of a transfer, oh, this is going to be great.
You and your family can vacate these premises immediately.
Hey, you must be kidding.
As the leader of the mechanical men, my words are not to be taken lightly. I have decided to appropriate your spaceship.
He wants to go back to their planet, but their ships are made for robots their size, not his. If they can repair the Jupiter too, why can't they just build him a ship of his own?
Think we can fight?
Against hundreds of my mechanical men?
Yes, against hundreds of your mechanical men. A 3-second sweep burst with a laser rifle would take out, 20, 30 at a time? Shouldn't be too hard to take out a few hundred in less than a minute. What else you got? John talks it over with the family and they decide they have to move out. Will isn't buying it, and neither is Dr. Zachary Robot. He's off to the little robot camp to put a stop to this.
Dr. Smith, there's really nothing you can do.
Ours not to reason why, ours but to try.
That is not how that couplet ends, but considering what he's walking into, I get why he doesn't want to think about the other way. They come upon the little robots having a big gathering. I see the torches, but they forgot the pitchforks.
I have lulled the Robinsons into a false sense of security. Now we shall attack them without warning.
That's a Dr. Smith move, all right. They're doing what he said, but he'll attack anyway. Because he's a...
We've got to get back to the Jupiter and warn them.
I prefer to stay here and fight it out now.
We need you at the Jupiter, too. Now, if you really want to fight so bad, you'll have your chance then. Now, come on.
Too bad some little sentries have them surrounded, and the leader himself is gloating over their capture.
You will stay. Do you think I'm such a fool as to let you leave after what you have overheard?
Warning, warning, I will attack. Make your escape, Will Robinson. You must warn your family.
Stop the Earth Boy.
Hey, if you're foolish enough to fall for that and end up letting them both get away, you're foolish enough to do anything. Since he has the robot's personality now, Dr. Smith can't move fast enough to get away. He tells Will to hide.
Spare me, O great and mighty leader.
What did you say?
All hail to thee, O great one. I have seen the error of my ways, and I wish to join you.
With enough bowing and scraping, the robot buys it. He says, go back to my camp, and heads on his way.
Gee, Dr. Smith, you were wonderful.
I am ashamed to bow and scrape before my enemies.
But you saved us. That's the important thing. Now we can warn the family.
Will was crouched behind that rock the whole time, inches from the robot. I want to know why he didn't reach out and go thunk and pull the robot's power pack. But he did the next best thing. He got there in time to warn the family so they're prepared for the attack.
Attack!
As we know, the most effective way to destroy the Robinsons is to blow up a tree 100 yards away from them. I think his way is a little more effective. The little robots keep blowing themselves up, destroying trees, while the Robinsons keep blowing up little robots. I have a feeling this attack isn't going according to the battle plan, especially since the robot is waving a white flag.
Whatever you have to say, make it brief.
My dear Professor, why do you greet me with such hostility? I am your friend.
Never mind the flattery. Get to the point.
Believe me, this attack was not my doing. I tried to stop my subjects, but to no avail.
Will and Dr. Smith know that's a lie. They heard him order the attack. So what happens next is no surprise.
Listen, robot, you've got 5 seconds to get out of here.
I am under a flag of truce, Professor.
He's under a flag of truce while his troops attack. This great and noble leader wants to take his minions and conquer the entire galaxy. What's that? We just heard from the galaxy. They say they're doing just fine without him.
Mechanical men, attack!
Stop! Come back, you coward!
Destroy them!
The little guys are in full retreat. Not so tough without your big brother, are you?
What? Oh, William, help me now. You know, my back is extremely delicate. Oh, what happened? Where am I? Who turned out the lights?
Guess who's back to normal?
No one is ever safe on this hostile planet. No!
Maybe a little too normal. A tad less of that wouldn't be unwelcome. How long is it going to take to fix the robot?
Right now, let's see what we can do about getting this robot back to normal, huh?
Yeah.
Hey there.
He took a direct laser blast, and all Don had to do was pull out his power pack and put it back in.
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
A hard reboot will fix the damage from a laser shot. I must remember that the next time my computer starts acting weird. In the cliffhanger, Don and Judy are working on a drilling site while Will and the robot are working on another one. Dr. Smith is sitting on his duff sipping tea. Oh, and there's a major electrical storm coming.
Dr. Smith, we'd better get under cover. Those storms are getting pretty violent.
Never fear, Smith is here. There is no cause for alarm.
I'm telling you, every time he says those words, he calls down disaster. He needs to find a new incantation. That one's broken.
Where can we find shelter from the storm?
There's a cave not too far from here.
But I loathe caves. They're filled with crawly things.
That's a shame because this planet is made entirely of caves. It's basically a bunch of holes that are all stuck to each other.
It gives me claustrophobia. I have never been able to endure confinement in small places.
Now the storm really can't get to you. There's no food or water in here, but hey, everything in life is a trade-off. I've never understood the whole notion of conquest. What's the purpose? Wealth? You can get that through trade. Power? To do what? Once you get it, what do you figure to do with it? Feed your ego by proving you can kick someone else around? I don't get it. Then when you do like these little guys did and essentially throw religion into it, it makes even less sense. Yet, our history as a species is full of examples of people oppressing other people in the name of their religion. Religion and power do not mix. Why? Because, as what's-his-name said, power corrupts. The entire European Middle Ages is evidence of that. Separation of church and state is a good thing. I hear a lot of my fellow Christians talk about how America needs to come back to God. Who's God? We're a plural society. So do they mean Jehovah, Jesus, Allah, Thor, Flying Spaghetti Monster, Google? The best way to run a country, well, first of all, the whole idea of countries is stupid in the age of instant global information, but I'll let that pass. The best way to run a country is to build it on those principles that all agree on, the principles that build a society dedicated to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Such a society can welcome anyone and everyone who wants to share in it. Well, almost anyone. No little robots. Those guys are trouble. I'll see you next time you find yourself lost in Irvingland.
If you enjoyed this episode, click the like button and let us know. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you always know what is happening, because something is always happening here at Irving Zoo. We make sure of it. We control his computer. Until next time.